time for our daily rising crisis update. We're going to start, as we always do, with a look at the numbers in terms of cases and deaths. We'll start with the United States here. We're up to 1.3 million cases. That's an addition of 17,000 since yesterday. We've had now more than 80,000 deaths, a far cry from that 60,000 mark that the president set here a little while ago. That's an addition of more than 1,100 since yesterday around the world. 4.1 million cases, 100,000 new since yesterday, 286,000 plus deaths, and that is an addition of 3,500 since yesterday. Look, we're continuing to make up a large proportion of the new cases and certainly the new deaths. Of course, grain of salt with all these numbers, they give you an inaccurate picture, but at least they give you some sense here of what's going on.
Yeah, we certainly do. And at the same time, we talked a lot about this on our show today, there's a growing reopen the economy movement. And part of that is a flashpoint in California, where Tesla CEO Elon Musk has defied local orders in I think it's Alameda County, California, reopening their car plant. Previously, actually, he's vowed in order to move the firm's headquarters out of California as a result of kind of being bombarded by state legislatures and all that. But it just goes to show that people feel that they're in a very tough position right now in terms of trying to meet production and in trying to pay their workers and trying to do all of that, while at the same time the federal government response has just been not what it needs to be to satisfy anybody. And so that's one thing you and I have truly tried to say is, look, some of these protesters who want to reopen the economy, we don't agree with what they necessarily want,
right?
But we understand why they would feel that way. And there's too many people preening at them and not understanding that in some cases we're talking about people who this is life or death, and you can't be mad at somebody for thinking about something that way. And in that way, the government has failed them in terms of the certainty of their response.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. The government has failed everyone at every level. I mean, Elon is reopening. That means putting his own workers at risk, defying, the orders there on the ground. In fairness, he has said he is going to be on the line, and he says, arrest me first. If you're going to arrest anyone.
Only arrest me.
Yeah. There's a class dynamic here, too, because, of course, some people have been fined, and police have gone after some people in New York for defying orders. So those people have disproportionately been poor, right? So there's a class dynamic here as well. But at the same time, along with this, in terms of the different ways that people are reopening, we have a new look at the approval ratings for governors across the country. And this just shows you overwhelmingly where the public is right now. They're very concerned about their own health and safety. That makes sense. So the states that have the highest approval rating, Ohio, it's a Republican governor. New York, there's some media fluff going into that one. I might put that one aside. I don't know that Cuomo has done that well of an actual job, but the media certainly loves him. California, Virginia, Ralph Northam, New Jersey. And then down at the bottom of the list, you see the Texas and Georgia governors, especially Georgia, with very low approval ratings. And Georgia, of course, Brian Kemp has really, opened up the economy, even gone further than President Trump wanted to, kind of got crosswise with him. He also sounded very foolish with some of the things that he said, very ignorant about the reality of this virus. People are not impressed with these governors who are pushing to reopen too soon, because we just showed you the death numbers. This is still there. It's still real. And in certain parts of the country, it is still rising.
Yeah. And I cannot understand what so much of this reopen movement stems from, when politically it's just not good. Look, Texas, Governor Abbott is still, he's not underwater, but Brian Kemp, led the reopening charge, was even rebuked by President Trump, and now has a 39% approval rating. Their GOP races across the country are razor thin where they shouldn't be. North Carolina, Arizona, Alabama even. If you can't win the Senate seat in Alabama, I don't know what to tell you. What the heck is going on here, right? That just shows you something. This could be a complete political disaster. And I believe that is what is waiting for everybody on the other side, is that they're going to try and reopen the economy, and the cases may not necessarily spike, but the economic investment won't come. And by that point, the lack of fiscal response right now will just destroy the economy for the next decade.
Yeah, if you look at those approval ratings, it goes lockstep with basically who has been the most aggressive. It's not partisan at all. The best approval rating celebrating.
Oh, and seniors are flooding from the GOP. That's the other thing.
Right, it's the other thing. And by the way, I mean, the reopen thing is, it's a dangerous fantasy. We were just looking at data of restaurant attendance in states that have reopened. So in Texas, places like that, where fine, go out and go to your restaurant. Are people actually going? No, they're not. I mean, it's gone up a trickle, like just a little tiny bit. So it's not like people are going to just go back to their normal lives the minute the government says so. People were making changes in their lives even before the lockdown. They weren't waiting for politicians to tell them what they could and couldn't do. They were making their own choices based on their own risk assessments, and they're going to continue to do so. So the idea that you can just reopen is just going to cause more harm, confusion, et cetera. It is not going to bring back the economy in the way that they sort of fantasize that it will.
No, it won't. All right.
We're going to be back with another crisis update tomorrow. Please make sure you like, share, and subscribe to see the latest updates. Thank you so much for watching.